Welcome back to What Was That? So in my 30s, I kept feeling drawn to a certain particular place, and I didn't quite understand the draw there, why I kept feeling pulled to go there. I didn't go there for many years, but then when I did finally go there, things seemed normal. There was nothing, revealed to me as to why I felt called and pulled there. For so many years before I had actually shown up there. It was a fitness facility, and I actually started, getting myself back into, great exercise routine and losing a little bit of weight that I'd put on after having kids and stuff. And again, just nothing out of what I would expect. So I'm, just there and doing my thing. And I remember one day I was on the Stairmaster, and there was a voice that for some reason drew my attention. There was a guy talking with another guy and a woman, and just something about their voice just kept drawing my attention to this guy. And I didn't understand why. I was just from his voice, there must have been some familiarity in some way. I don't know. But I kept looking at this guy trying not to, but I couldn't help but do that. And to the point where he finally saw me, and said, "Hey, what's up?" Like nodded at me. And so I kind of like nodded back, and then I looked away, and I just tried to stop, feel like catering to that pull to look towards him. Then probably a couple months later, I don't even know the exacts, I actually am working out almost all the way across the gym, and happen to be drawn in a certain direction. And I look, and it's that same guy. And I just felt like there was a draw to look at him. And it was almost like, it was like tractor beam laser focus. I couldn't stop looking at this guy. And I was like, geez, like I may as well be a laser boring a hole into this guy. It was just kind of crazy. I still didn't understand. I'm like, why? So anyway, needless to say, I think something like that kind of happened a couple times where I think I saw him also in a studio one time. But that was like, I looked in a couple times, but it wasn't anything major on that. I noticed his energy and charisma and whatnot when he was in the studio. So anyway, fast forward a little bit. I had been exercising. My body, I had plateaued out with my results. And I was like, okay, I need to shock my body. I need to do something else. I need to mix it up. So I looked at the amenities classes that were offered at that facility, and I saw one that sounded kind of interesting. It wasn't really challenging, but because I still didn't know, where I really needed to land to challenge and push myself and shock my body, I tried this one class. And it was all right. It was all right, but it really didn't challenge me enough. So I was like, that's not going to do what I need to do. So I went back to looking at the schedule, and I looked at a couple of different classes, and I was like, ooh, these sound pretty cool. Pardon me, excuse me. These sound really cool. I think that'll definitely shock my body and get me over this plateau that I've hit. So let's try this. And I noticed the name of the instructor, and I was like, that's got to be a nickname, because there's no way that someone named their kid this. This is a nickname. Anyway, so the day of the class, I show up to class. I'm one of the first ones, and I'm just kind of standing there waiting. And all of a sudden, the energy in the room shifts, or I could say, all of a sudden, an energy entered the room, okay? And it was so profound that I looked towards the energy source. And in this guy walks, and he's walking through, and as he's walking, the energy feels like it's a wake of his energy behind him. That's how strong this energy I picked up was. And I'm looking at him going, Who is that? What is this? What was that? What was that? So I'm like, wow, I've never experienced anything like this in all my life. Like, why am I having and feeling so much energy from this one guy just walking in, and he's got this wake of energy that's trailing behind him to the point where I'm telling you, my eyes followed him. And then he was like, he liked to greet the new people. So he says, hi, is this your first time? Yeah, I thought you looked like you were new, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, but another thing happened. Something in me screamed, get out! I didn't understand why. I did later, but I didn't understand at the time why. So what was that? Thanks for listening.